This is Joycey
and Blake, and welcome to Savagely Scaled. So today we have Nicole and Savana. They are also part of Kingman CrossFit, and I've been wanting to sit down with them, I think, since I thought about doing
for some time. Yeah,
because there's like a group of you that I was like, when you guys were newer members. You guys are not new members anymore. Trisha was one of them.
That's right.
Even all the Radlers. I was like, these should be a good group to like sit down and just like see how they feel.
Pick their brain
and go from there.
Time got to us, guys. Time got to us.
And then I was like, oh, Savana, can you sit down with us? I was like, I'm going to ask Nicole too.
It worked out. Thanks, guys.
It did. So we're going to sit down and talk with them.
Yeah, let's pick their brain a little bit.
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. So we have Savana. So we're going to start with Savana. How old are you?
I am 22. I'll be 23 this year in August.
Oh, nice.
It's around the corner.
Yeah. How long have you been doing CrossFit?
Since April last year, so almost a whole year.
Nice. Wow. And what brought you to CrossFit?
My sister Cameron has been doing CrossFit for like 3 years, and I've just been wanting to get in shape and everything like that. I did weightlifting in high school.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. With fitness, so with CrossFit, has that been in your guys' family? Because, sorry, my brain is skipping. I thought that you and Cameron were the only siblings in your household. And how many do you have?
We have, there's 7 of us total. So me and Cameron are the youngest of the 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you the only ones in CrossFit? I'm curious.
Yes. Right now, our older sister, Robin, who lives here, she did the sweat class for 2 months.
Okay. Yeah.
But with her work schedule, she doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's hard with the work schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So going into that with having all the siblings, what was fitness like in your family?
It was never really encouraged. Our mom worked a lot, so it was kind of, it was never really talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of started with one of my oldest sisters. She was overweight in high school, and she started doing Pilates, like just in her own time, out of nowhere.
That is a rough thing to do. I don't want to do Pilates.
And so I think she was honestly kind of like the motivator. That was like 10 years ago.
Okay.
And ever since then, it's kind of been on and off. Everybody's kind of dabbled in, their fitness journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
So you have the Cameron who brought you into CrossFit. How have you felt on your CrossFit journey so far?
I feel pretty good. I think at first I was kind of focused on the weight loss portion, and I've kind of been in a little bit of like a rut with actually losing the weight. Like I've lost about 28 pounds since I started, but just in the past few months, I haven't really lost any. So it's kind of, but
that is really good though. Yeah. 28 pounds.
Yeah, that's significant.
That's really significant. It is hard, and we can touch on it after we talk to Nicole and everything. There's been times like me and Joycey have talked about weight loss and how women are and how our society, even when we were younger, and what they build us to and things like that, or even certain fitness places and what they gear us to. And I feel like CrossFit can help us, but there's still that, that still social thing that goes into our brain of, well, we should see a bigger number. We should see a bigger this. Yeah. And it's hard when it doesn't happen because there's so many things that play a part into that.
Yeah.
Right.
So great job though. On 28 pounds is really good.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's progress. Significant. And you're still showing up. Like we still see you in there. So that's the biggest part, I think.
Yeah.
But that's amazing.
Let me go over to Nicole. And Nicole, how young are you? I knew Savana was young.
How many years have you been on this planet?
37.
And you just turned 37.
I did.
Yeah, because
nice.
you just had a birthday.
Yep.
Yeah.
How long have you been with Kingman CrossFit?
Almost 3 years.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how has
That's
your journey been?
It's been good. It's had a lot of I've had a lot of life events happen that's kind of affected it, but we're still going.
Still showing up.
Still showing up.
And then how is fitness in your family growing up to now?
We really didn't do like fitness. It wasn't really something that was talked about. But we were a very active family. Like we lived in a campground basically every weekend. Like we were in a campground, we were biking, we were fishing. Like my parents were very active with us. So we were in baseball, like we were in sports and stuff. So we had fitness, but it wasn't like talked about like, this is something that you need to do.
Yeah.
You know.
And how many siblings do you have?
I have an older sister.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
So just one compared to 7. Yeah. Well.
Hey, I have like 0, so.
Me too.
What does that mean? That's true. Oh man, I just forget
we
that
just
all the
don't
time.
do well in crowds.
I mean,
Sometimes one is too many.
Yeah. Right? Also, yeah. I was like, well.
When they said 7, I was like, what?
I know.
Because you guys seem so like, I don't know how it is like at home or anything like that. You guys are so quiet, you and Cameron.
Well, she did say they were the youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of it's only 3 of us that live in Kingman.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
The 3 sisters. And then the rest of my siblings live in Texas.
Okay.
But we do stay in contact pretty well. We have like a couple family group chats and stuff.
Oh, cool.
As we've gotten older, we've gotten a lot closer.
Oh, that's
as
good.
siblings. So,
And are you guys originally from Kingman or is it from Texas? And
No. So kind of from all over. My mom's from Texas.
Her face was like, no.
So I moved around a lot as a kid. I've been in Kingman since like the past like 10 years. So I kind of tell people, I'm from here. But we were kind of born all over. My mom is from Texas. My dad is from Louisiana. And so we've kind of lived kind of pretty much the whole South area our whole lives. But yeah.
wow.
Nice.
Interesting.
What brought you to CrossFit?
I actually did CrossFit in my hometown, not very consistently. But I started there, then I quit. And what made me come to you guys is I went to a trampoline park. And I decided to jump in the foam pit.
Oh, yeah,
see where this is going.
I couldn't get out. Like, I had no strength. I started crying right in the foam pit.
Oh, man.
Like, my kids had to go, like, went and ran to go get someone. I'm like, please don't. Like, just let me die here.
Right. It's like, my gosh. Oh, man.
And I had been friends with Carrie.
Yeah.
And I seen her posts on it. And I don't even think we even left Vegas before I got a hold of her and was like, hey, how do I sign up for this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was done. Like, I shouldn't be at that point. And I shouldn't have let myself get to that point. And I was over it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's awesome. It's great to see that like someone else's post can inspire someone. And that's funny that you say that because I feel like you've been kind of that person for me lately because I've been seeing a lot of your posts come up for me in social media with like the meals you make and things like that. And I'm just like, man, she's really on it. Like she's going hard and her recipes and everything I'm kind of looking into a little bit more. So you've been kind of that source of inspiration for some people too. And it's kind of good to see how it's like how it translates. So
I appreciate it because sometimes I feel like I'm annoying people with it.
Oh, no, you're not.
And it just gets me going and it holds me accountable. Like, you need to do this. And so it's more of an accountability for me more than anything and encouragement, you know, even though you don't think it, like these likes or posts or comments, like it is motivating for you to keep going and doing what you're doing and knowing what you're doing is worth it, you know?
And what do you think, like, just out of curiosity, like, what do you think made Kingman CrossFit different and made you want to stay versus maybe the other gym that you were at? And
you know, honestly, I just don't think I was at that point in my life. I wasn't ready. Like, I wasn't mentally ready. And this time I was just like, I'm going to keep going until I see a change. And I'm going to keep showing up until I finally get this routine because I've wanted this for so long.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
But I mean, it is nice to come and feel like you're hanging out with a bunch of friends. Like
Yeah.
I truly feel like you guys are family, and I'm not embarrassed to try stuff. And, you know, I do go to the other gym outside of CrossFit. Because my husband has a membership and I get in
Of
for
course,
free.
yeah.
So I just go with him. But when I'm there, I'm so self-conscious. Like, oh no,
Yeah,
what
it's
are
a
these
different-
people going to think of me? And then, like, you know, I'll be at CrossFit and be like, I want to try that. And they're like, go for it. Like,
Right.
let's do it, you know? So it's just so different.
It's a different vibe.
It's just so different.
Savannah, have you tried other gyms other than Kingman CrossFit, like throughout?
Like a regular gym, like I used to go to Planet Fitness, but I just wasn't really consistent. I had a hard time like setting a schedule for myself and like what to do when I was there and stuff. And the same thing, like I was kind of thinking about what everybody else was thinking of me, even though they, you know, they probably didn't even know I was there. But yeah, I tried, and then I did get to the point where I was just like, I want something consistent and something that motivates me. And the community at Kingman CrossFit really helped.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I started at a global gym that was hooked to a Kingman CrossFit, or not to a Kingman CrossFit,
To a CrossFit.
to a CrossFit gym. And I would have my set days. And the only reason I went is because my mom went. So then I had that other person, but she actually would go to the CrossFit classes and I wouldn't. But I did have like that self-confidence thing of like, okay, I'm going to go use that machine. And for me, I could see the pictures, see what I had to do, but I would still sit there and be like, what if I'm doing it wrong? And what if somebody's waiting for this and I'm taking the time? And I'd be like, you know what? Then you're going to go into their like open gym where they had classes and you're going to do your own thing. And then I would go in there and I'd be like, what if I'm doing this wrong? What if somebody's looking at me like, why is she here? What is she
And it's
doing?
kind of boring too sometimes.
It is. And it was like never, I went to that gym so then I could go eat out. I could go drink with my friends. I could go do that. But I never like knew what I was burning exactly. I never knew if I was getting anywhere. I think it was just like, okay, well, I went to the gym, so I get to eat this. But I also at a young age had a very unhealthy like thing with food. So it was, my whole family's big. We did fitness, but it was just, short and big. So it was always like, you go work out, you get to eat whatever you want. And I feel like society still does that, and we still do the shame thing, but we don't do any help. And so that's why I stuck with CrossFit, because CrossFit helped me with that. It was like, I could see everybody, all shapes and sizes, but the best thing was like, I could scale things. Now I know we don't like to scale things sometimes, or we don't like to hear that word. I didn't either. But how is that? Like, when you guys came into the gym, were you ever like, why can't my body do that? Or why can't I do that? Were you guys ever in that
Most definitely.
grouping?
Yeah. For me recently with, it's kind of lame, but with jump roping.
That is not lame.
It is
I kind
not,
of did
no.
like a double jump thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why can't I get like a good rhythm? And then literally just at the open a few weeks ago, whenever we were doing jump ropes, I feel like I have no clue how, but I got like some sort of rhythm.
Yeah.
And I bought my own jump rope from the RX gear.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
RX Smart Gear.
Chris, yeah.
Nice.
Chris recommended, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I've gotten a lot better in the past few weeks.
She's like, I'm going to commit to this. Boom.
My mom could only jump rope backwards.
What?
Oh yeah. Because like when we jump rope forward, we can only use our wrists. When you jump rope backwards, you
Use your
have to
arm.
use your arms.
Oh.
And so for her, it was that.
It makes
Like
sense.
she could only get a couple my mom doesn't listen that much, but she is very well endowed. I'm the only one in the family who's not well endowed up front. So she's like Jay's, maybe even bigger. So
I didn't even know that was a letter.
yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
It goes on.
Yeah, it goes on and
impressive.
on. It's like the song that never ends. So going forward, something with keeping her arms in and then just having that, she used to have to wear like 3 sports bras. When she'd go backwards, it wasn't as, even though I was like, you're still jumping.
Right.
Yeah, it was just crazy to see. But she was one of those where she's like, how come I can't just do it forward? And jump rope is very heavy and taxing on your arms, but also on your legs and knees.
Yeah.
And I have really bad knees.
For me, it's the calves.
The calves.
Oh,
I was
that
going to say
too.
that hurts me the most too.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started, like I look back at my workouts, I could only do 25 jump ropes, like a round, you know, whereas now I'm doing 75 to 90 singles. I cannot do a double under.
Me neither.
I will still be working on it, but to see that growth from 25, like I was dead at 25 and now I do 75s. Like,
wow.
Yeah, I think last week I was like, did you just do all those jump ropes?
Yeah, she's all, did you do all of them? And you did that?
Yeah, I was like, wow.
That's awesome.
Was there any time also like do you look at the workouts before you guys come?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there a workout that you're like, this is my jam? And then you guys went in and the coach was like, yeah, you're doing this. And you're like, what? I wanted to do this.
Yes. In the beginning, it was like that a lot of the times. I'm like, I can do that. But by the second round, I'm like, I'm so glad I did not do that.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Nothing particularly that comes to my mind, but I just think whenever I get to the gym, usually the 5 a.m. classes, Chris just really...
Yeah, I was going to say, you have Chris.
Right. You go to the 5 a.m. class?
Yeah.
Oh, you're brave.
Chris is a really good motivator. And he kind of like, I'm not going to say bullies, but like, he's like, I know you can do it. Like you can, but he's a really good...
We all know who Chris is at this table. So I think that's good, especially for 5 a.m. And
yeah, sometimes you need that energy because it's so early.
Yeah. And he's very like, nope, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, well, do you want to try this? How is this feeling today?
We could always bring it down at round 2. You know?
I'm always like that. Okay, if you find in the middle, just do that. But there are times when I have looked at Nicole, I'm like, you really want to do that? Okay. I mean, it's your workout.
You know, as I've went longer, I'm realizing to more work on form than reps. When you first come, you're like, I want to do as many as I can, as much as I can. And now I'm like, do I need to do that? Because I'm going to blow my knee out.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
And that's the thing. Like when I first started and people are like, oh, listen to your body. When you've never been into fitness, you're like, what do you mean listen to my body?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you mean by listen to my body. I'm going to move. That's what. But now, like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I know that my knee is going to bother me if I do this. So let's do this instead. Because it's not worth my knee being blown out for 3 weeks. Like, I can still do a squat. I just can't. I shouldn't do 145 of them.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's,
you know,
a great point that you bring up. I think that's like the biggest gift that I think I learned from CrossFit too, is like learning kind of what works with you and what doesn't, because it takes a long time to figure that out. Like to go into a gym and be like, okay, I know that at 20 lunges, that's when I start like peaking and dying, or I know that if I lift this much, my knee is going to start acting up. Like figuring that out for yourself is one of the hardest things I feel in the whole process. But the fact that you guys are already speaking to that, like, says how much you've grown. And I think that's like a big part of the CrossFit experience, is finding out what that threshold is and being able to be like, okay, I'm going to have to tone it down here and here and here, but I could still have a killer workout in there, you know? So that's awesome. That's cool.
Do you feel like also like the coaches that we have are great with scalability or modifications? Because there are times, like even when I've gone to gym, to other gyms, and whether it be like when I first started and my body was completely different than it is now, or when I was pregnant, or even postpartum, and my body's just different. And I've had coaches say, okay, we'll fill it out, or, oh, you've been doing CrossFit for this long, you should be able to do it. And I'm like, I can't. And that just makes me feel worse. Have you felt like the scalability or modifications that we have given you, or CrossFit? Because we take a lot from our CrossFit learning also. Have you felt that has like helped you guys in building to where you are now? Or have you helped us with teaching us like how your body is? Because I've had that with Terry. I've had it with even Catherine and Elijah, I always want to call him Ethan, the younger crowd too, like where they're like, oh yeah, that doesn't work for me. And then they help me along the way. I know that's a big, huge question and comment.
I think the coaches that we have at Kingman CrossFit are very, they're very good at like paying attention to, and sometimes it's a really big class. They're good at paying attention to everybody and kind of helping them scale if they don't know, what they need. But I haven't had any, issues with any of the coaches. They're all really helpful and really vigilant.
And I feel both of you, I know I haven't coached you very long, but you guys both know, and I know you touched on feel your body or knowing your body. You guys have both been like, oh yeah, like the other day with your knees or things like that. Or when I've had you, you're like, yeah, I have to do it this to this. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. So like for you guys are very, very vocal about, even though you're really quiet, she's not.
I will tell you what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you will be okay with it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Unless it's too light. And
She's
then
like,
she'll be
"I'm
like,
paying
no.
Yeah. But I feel like for you guys, you know what you need, you know what your body needs to do. And we do have members that are very, very quiet about it, which I'll touch on that after Nicole gives me her answer, if she remembers what I said in that monologue.
Yeah, I think the coaches are great at knowing what you need. The only thing I would say is like sometimes I don't see a lot of the coaches, so they don't know where I am at in my fitness. That would be the only thing I would say.
Yeah.
They're still open. And like I had Dave the other day. I don't ever really see Dave very often.
Chris has cut his hours and put him more into PT.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that.
So I went in there the other day and it was 20 toes to the bar. And I wanted to do the legs in space. And I was like, I just don't think I can do 20 of them every round.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, okay, let's do this. And it worked out fine.
Yeah.
So
it is hard, like when I don't see Savannah or like 5 a.m. and it is harder there, but there's things that we can do better as coaches and owners and be like, hey, if you're doing something, this is what's going on with the athletes. I wouldn't mind that when I see also some of our morning crew come to afternoon, because I do feel like it's a disservice if I'm like, what do you think you should do? Most of the time, if I'm asking the athletes that I know that, it's because I'm also like gearing towards like,
maybe
what
we should
think
change.
you should do. And it's like, you did pick the right thing.
We know your style, Blake. When you say that, I'm like, slower. Like, is that what you're looking for?
Compared to if I had a morning person, I'm like, so what do you think about this workout? I can gear it somewhat, like it was lifting and we had some practicing and be like, okay, I know how you're moving. But like that workout, we just had to touch on things and move on to the next. So there is some room, a lot of room to grow with communication with our athletes to still have them grow, even if they take somebody else's class.
Yeah.
So I see that. Now I forgot what I was going to touch back on.
About scaling, right? I guess.
I mean, there is that scaling and modifications, but it also was something completely different. And that's what happens to my brain if I don't write it down.
Same way.
Yeah.
I can't even remember.
Yeah.
But I guess one question I did have was like, when you guys just joined CrossFit, do you remember the feelings you had going into your first class and what that was like?
I was very nervous.
Yeah.
And obviously I felt a lot better like knowing somebody there with having Cameron there, but I just I was really nervous because I've never been in like a structured, like with an actual coach type of fitness.
How did you feel during the one-on-one with Dave?
He's really like, you can do this, you can do this. Like I remember particularly he was teaching me like a wall walk. And I was just like, I don't think I can get up there right now. But I couldn't move my hands back, but I could get my feet up on the wall. And he was just very like motivational. But he kind of did instill some confidence in me, even just like the first meeting him. It was nice.
Nice. And then when you had to go to your class, which I always say that's like a big graduation step.
Like a shock. Yeah.
Because for me, I get very like, oh, I'm one-on-one with somebody. So great. And then I get used to that person. And now I'm like, hey, I don't know anybody here.
That's
and
scary.
they all know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It definitely felt like everybody was already friends and everything like that, but everybody was really, really welcoming. Like, particularly Justin Flink.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love
Justin's
Justin.
very...
He's very like, oh my God, Savannah, you did so good. And like high-fiving me and like, oh, your spot's so much better.
Aw.
So everybody's just really sweet.
Nice. Nicole, how did yours go?
It was good. I mean, I didn't have, I guess with the first class though, it is scary going in because I didn't really know anybody other than Carrie.
Yeah.
And so when she wasn't there, I was like, oh God, I'm going to have to talk to these people.
Yeah.
And I'm not someone that goes and socializes with people that I don't know. Like I'm just very quiet. But once you get to know me, no, it was scary to go in, and it's kind of scary being the only one just picking up a bar or picking up a 15-pound bar, and you're like, these people have 100 pounds on their bar, and I'm here.
Yeah.
You know? So but you want to be at that point. You're like, just put some weights on. I'm ready, but you're not.
Yeah.
So it was hard to be patient through the process of waiting to get the okay. Now you're ready for the actual bars and the weights.
Yeah. So how was that kind of fight in your mind with that? I know you like kind of touched on it, but like going in, were there some days where you just felt like defeated by it? Or were you like, okay, I'm still growing. I'm still learning from this? Because there's some days when, I mean, I put weight on the bar and
it feels like 500 pounds.
Or when I hurt my back and I would just, I want to step out when I hurt my back and I would just see you guys just use a bar. I'd be like, I wish I could use a bar.
Yeah.
And so that was hard for me to come to the gym and even coach you guys. So how was it with you guys coming to the gym and being like, well, I guess I'm doing the bar today?
I mean, I think that's still daily. Like for me, like seeing people do pull-ups and people do toes to bar. I'm like, well, guess I'm doing knee ups, you know, and you get to a point where you're like, man, am I ever going to grow from this? Because like, I do feel like that with the ring rows. I'm so sick of doing ring rows. Like, I want to do the next step, you know, but I have to get to that point. And it's just, it's such a slow process. You think that, oh, I'll be doing ring rows for maybe a year and then I'll be able to do a pull up. It's not that easy. And I have to know that I've come far. You know, you have to see where you were. So it's good to have those like workouts to look back at on our tracking and stuff, because that is like, I do that. I go back and I'm like, okay, where was I 2 years ago? Okay. Like I have grown, you know, I was doing 5 knee ups and now I'm doing 15 to 20, you know, so you do have to look back and see where you've come, you know.
Well, next time we have pull-ups, you just say, I'm sick and tired of doing ring rows. I'll make something else for you. Right?
I just don't think I can do it, though. I don't think my body's at that point.
I have something in my mind that I think you can do.
But see, like...
Nope. It'd be something that we just work on strength and then we're strengthening our back, but we're still doing a similar movement that I know you can do.
4:30 class.
Chris has some really good modifications too. And when I say modifications, it's just a different version of that movement because we have scaling, which is numbers, reps, weight. Modification is a little bit different where I can do a movement, but it's not the exact movement, but we're working on the same thing. And I agree with you. There's a lot of times when we just put some people on boxes and say ring rows.
It's just so boring.
It is. And then there's so much breakdown of it as we go that I'm like, there's things that I have as a coach still have to learn. So like, next time we have it, you just say, can we do something other than ring rows? I don't want to touch the rings. Because I do have other things in my mind that I would help other people with pull-ups. And it's not even doing a kipping pull-up or a strict one. It's building that. But your hands are going to be on the pull-up bar.
But like I'm saying though, like every time we are going in, it's still at that point. Like until you're where you want to be, you're still looking at, and you're not looking at people in a bad way though. Like you're looking at them like, man, I want to do that. Like Chelsea was one of the one girls that I seen lifting weights. And I'm like, man, I want to lift that bar like she does. Yeah. You know, and I'm at that point now, which is nice, you know, to be able to lift weight like that. So, you know, to see where I've come, but also like you start growing in what you want.
Yeah.
You know? First I want to lift those weights that big. And now like I want to do toes bar. I want to do a pull up. Like I want to do a wall walk, you know, and to a point, like I'm almost to that wall walk. You know, I did get like a half of one, which, you know, is better than it was the first day I walked in. I could have never done that. So
it's awesome.
Yeah. It's that reminding ourselves where we were, which sometimes is hard because you're like, well, like for me, look, I've been doing it for like 11, 12 years. I should have a bar muscle up by now, right, guys? Right? I should be like Dave by now, right? So there's times when I'm like, I should be at a better place than I am, but I have to look back on, I just had a bar. Back then they didn't have 15. So you had PVC pipe and then they would kind of add different weight to the PVC pipe that we had, or you had a weighted PVC pipe and you had to gradually get to it. And then I was stuck at a 35 for a long time too. So there's times when we also have newer members than you guys. And I've heard you voice like, we all had to start somewhere. We've all had to start here or things like that. So it's nice to hear because you walk into this gym and you're like, oh, they did not start like me. There's no possible way that they did the same things that I'm doing right now. But we did. Or like I say, other than probably Dave or Jason, who are weirdos.
Yes. Absolute freaks.
But the other thing I want to touch on that Nicole said, like how you pinpoint Chelsea.
Yes.
I think some of our other members also forget that they're people that others look at. And I didn't just, when I walked in the gym, I didn't just go to Allie or Amanda or people like that. Like, I don't think you guys were around. There was Miranda. She was shorter. She had red hair. And we had joined at the same time. And I would go for her for things to compare, even though there was things that she was scaling and I was RXing and vice versa. But it was just like, that's the person that I would like to look like or be like and
get to the level of.
Yeah. Compared to
that's so funny. Yeah.
The top athletes that we have.
Did you have one?
Did you have one?
Did you look up to some?
Yeah.
He's like my sister.
Well, yeah, Cameron looks really good right now.
Yeah, she's killing it.
Yeah. Not anybody particularly off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of seeing everybody. Amanda,
oh man,
yeah,
she's on another level.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even look that far ahead.
No, I don't even like. Even with her being injured, I'm like, I still can't do.
And she did the open. I was like, girl, how? Yeah. That's impressive. I was like, that's wild.
Yeah. But I feel like that's nice to have those people to like be like maybe one day or just being something similar, right? Like I will say with Amanda, the thing that I compare myself to is nutrition. And I know she's a nutrition coach, but that girl, she can even make a whole week of food that she doesn't like and eat it. Blake can't do that.
Yeah.
If it tastes nasty the first day, I'm like,
I'm done.
Yeah. And I'm like, I just set myself up for failure and I really don't want to go back out there and this is in the trash. And Amanda can completely just be like, well, we're eating it.
Yep.
And I'm like,
I do that.
I wish I could do that.
She's also a budget queen, I've seen.
Oh, yeah. So there's parts with that. So we touched on your beginning. We are going to dive a little bit into our nutrition journey, right? Is there a nutrition journey? Have you changed any eating habits or decided that that's your next step? Because it's really big. It took me years before I decided that I was going to do that. Or even I started with, okay, I'm going to drink more water. Okay, I'm not a big veggie person. So there's like 3 or 4 veggies that I'm like, I can stick with. I'm more of a fruit person. So I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to introduce more fruit compared to I'm just going to deep dive into macros, because I knew that I would quit as soon as I did that. How do you guys feel about nutrition?
So it's always kind of been like, I don't know how to describe it. Like whenever I've always been like a big child, and it's never been like taught like, oh, you should eat more vegetables. You should, not eat so much. And it was mostly like junk food and stuff. And I was bullied as a child. And so I kind of got it in my head, like, oh, I'm never going to change. And so just kind of the idea of dieting is it kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth. So I think I'm trying to get out of that. Like it's not necessarily a negative thing. Yeah. I think my main thing right now is overeating. I don't necessarily eat bad things. It's just I go back for seconds. Yeah.
I mean, especially if it's a good meal. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is just the only plate. And then I revert back to, but you shouldn't be like that, because it is that word diet. You're young. So I don't, and that's the same with Cameron when I've talked to Cameron too about things. So I don't know how it is, like if there's toxicity for still like slimming or things like that. Because we had Slim Fast, we had Special K, we had Atkins, we had everything, to even where I voiced on a couple episodes where my mom and me at 16 were going to meetings for Weight Watchers, and that was healthy, looking back on it, dieting is like a very, like even thinking about it makes my stomach drop about like, why do I have to do that? Why do I have to diet, or why do I have to do that? And I know Amanda has voiced with me, like, this is not like, there's a couple different types. Like we eat to survive. I really don't like that. Yeah. I like to eat to enjoy my meals and enjoy that I'm moving. I don't like to look at food as a survival. Yeah. Even though we should. I don't like that. So like with her, she has helped me to look at food as this is enjoying. And I've been doing macros for years. So I can look at food and be like, okay, there are times when I have to take breaks. And right now, like to me, I'm in a dieting phase because I'm in a deficit for a lifting meet. But that's a goal that I have. So she has taught me different goals with my food, maintaining this is my goal if I want to be at deficit. And there's all the times when I could be like, this is too much. I don't want to do it anymore. Whether she's told me that or I just have to listen to myself. So like before I go on to Nicole with nutrition, how is like with your age group, because you are younger, how is like social media and society with body types?
Well, I think with, I'm mostly on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff. I think there's a lot of like variety, like seeing a lot of different people eat different things. It's not really like strict, like you have to eat this one way to look this certain way. So I think it's actually a lot, I would say, better than it used to be.
It's true.
Even though, social media is toxic and everything. It has those parts of it, but there's no like strict, like you have to eat this one way to look this certain way. So there's a lot of like different like avenues and like people you can look to and like influencers and stuff like that to like kind of help you on your way to, like if you want to eat this certain way, and if you don't like these things, then you don't have to eat that to necessarily be healthy and stuff like that. That's true. I would say it's pretty positive.
Yeah. Because our day and age was very negative
Yeah.
and very like low-waisted
Or
jeans
one image
and
fits all kind of thing.
Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera when they
Yep.
were tiny. That was what you're supposed to look like. And I was
They
like,
had like no tummy, like absolutely just a single. I was like, what?
nothing.
But I think that's a good point that I feel like social media now kind of the good thing about it is like now there's so much information out there that you do have access to like recipes or to other people's meal preps and things like that, or people kind of educating people on things to do. And there's definitely that part of it that's been helpful. Like I agree for sure. But then there's also the ability of having to discern like, oh, that's obviously not a good thing or this is a good thing, right? And being kind of responsible about that can be hard.
I think the algorithm that they have for you, like
That's
seeing normal people, because I look for normal. What the heck is going on? It's okay. Normal people who are, moms, quick meals, and look
similar
like me.
journey kind of thing.
To where it was very slim, and you just eat vegetables and like the palm of your hand for me, and I'm
That's
like,
true, yeah.
that's not gonna hit my protein today. So Nicole, how are you dealing with nutrition?
I would say that I do fairly well with the nutrition. You have to want it to do it. It's easy to not do it. If you don't want it and you're not ready for it, you're not going to get where you want. It took me a long time to finally be ready and be to that point where you are reading serving sizes and you're being understanding. But it's crazy now because like I automatically know what a serving size is. I'm like, oh, that's 28 grams. That's this many. Yeah. And my coworkers make fun of me because I like the nerd cluster because you can have 16 of them for a serving. And she's like, are you going to sit there and count out your 16? I'm like, yes, ma'am. So
it's almost like second nature at this point.
Yeah.
But some people can look at that and be like, that's very toxic that you're counting that out. But I'd be like, if I was counting out 3 chocolate chips, that would be very toxic. Yeah. I get 16, so I know what worth I have. Right. I'm not going to get 3. I want 16.
And that's the thing also, like, I'm not going to not eat the foods I want at that time. If I want nerd clusters that day, I'm going to have them. But past me would have ate the whole bag. Whereas now I do look at the servings and I do only eat one and then I put it away.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of what you want. Because I want this so bad right now that I'm in that, like, I'm tracking all my food. I would say though, like, I do very well until I get off of work. And then I don't track my dinner and I don't track, like, I will have one snack though after dinner. That's it. I used to snack until bedtime.
Yeah.
So I have changed a lot with my food. But I don't know if I'll ever be a strict, tracking.
Yeah.
Because I home make my dinners and it's just so hard sometimes to put in every little ingredient. And it's like, so I kind of base it like I need 500 calories for dinner.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a lazy food tracking, but I track my food up to dinner. And then once dinner, I'm just like, if I leave myself 500 to 700 calories for dinner, I should be good to go. So,
okay.
But that's way more than I used to, at dinner, I measure out our servings. I used to never do that. I used to just be like, oh, let's just do it, pour it in just pour it, but now I am more cautious about how much I'm putting on our plates and whatnot. So
That's good.
That's awesome. And it's hard
Yeah.
even just to get to that point where you're like, I know 16 is this. Like, I feel like getting to that is like, when I was doing nutrition with Amanda, it took me like, I did the 3 months, but I feel like you, like I don't weigh things, but now I could look at something and be like, oh, I know this is going to be this many grams of protein or calories. So now I know what to watch out for in my future meals. Yeah. So I'm the same way in that style. Like I'm not very, let me write it down and put down the grams, but I just kind of observe and I'm very like conscious of like things like that. So I think there's different styles though of nutrition. There's different ways you can target it.
Like I can look at that and be like, 90% of the time we either under pour or over pour. So I'm a big measure, right? Because I've done that. And I can look at, okay, my journey's going to stop. I'm going to maintain if I keep this journey. How long do I want to maintain? But what is my goal? Right. Is my goal that I am way better than I was 6 months ago and I'm happy with that right now? Then yeah. Is my goal, I want 20 more pounds. How am I going to get there? There's so many questions, but at the same time, we can look at it. And this is just coming from like my whole family being heavy set and heart issues. I can look at every journey that I've taken with nutrition, and no matter how happy I've been in, my next step, I always feel like something's being taken away from me. And I think that just stems from just for me, that I have to do this for the rest of my life. And there's people out there that don't. And it angers me. It really does, because there's times when I'm like, I would like for this whole month to not track and to eat exactly what I want and overeat if I want and not gain 10 pounds.
Oh yeah. I mean, everybody wants to do that.
Oh yeah. Everybody does.
And maybe once a month I will do that. I don't track for a weekend, but the thing is like I get back on it on Monday and I start tracking again. And that is way better than I used to be. So,
and I think that's the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway. You touch on a lot of keys of, I had to be ready, because you can't go. I tell people in CrossFit too, who are just like, I'm just here and I'm going to lose weight. And I'm like, all right, well, let's try it for 3 months and see where we're at. And we kind of have to be happy if we're not losing weight because our body's doing something different. And those are the people who are like, well, no, it just wasn't for me. Why? Well, I didn't lose weight. Well, you might not. It depends on how your body type it is. It depends on what you used to do. And I feel like that's with nutrition where they go, okay, well, I did it. It wasn't exactly what I wanted. It's like, but what was your goal? Was your goal that I had to lose 30 pounds? If your goal is that in 3 months, you have to be very diligent with everything.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah. Is it, I want to be better than I was 3 months ago. And then 3 more months. I want to be even better than I was 6 months ago. And those little steps. And that's the same to me with CrossFit. And so like touching on those things, people forget. And if I tell them, they're like, oh, Sharon,
how dare
like,
you?
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like our members telling each other this is very helpful.
I mean, food prep for me was not a thing. Like,
me either.
Prep, like, why are we food prepping? But now my Sunday is a food prep day. You know? So, but I was doing a very elaborate like food prep, and like the last couple weeks, I'm just like, I don't have it in me. So we're doing snack wraps, and it's okay. I buy the pre-cooked chicken fajita from Walmart. Like it's already cut and cooked, and
let's go.
We throw it in a tortilla with lettuce.
I think that's the best thing is making it easier for yourself.
Yeah.
And if you stick with it for like another 5 years, then do the elaborate stuff that you have time for now. Yeah. But I'm like, make it as easy as you can for yourself, because chicken is chicken.
Yeah.
All right. If it has it on there, what it is, and I just scan it into my macros first, and I'm like, there's my serving. That's what I get.
Exactly.
All right. It's the easiest thing. Especially when you go into life situations and you're like, I don't have time to do this whole recipe.
With kids and being a mom and having sports and things like that, like it is necessary to food prep to be successful that week. Otherwise, you feel like you are just holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
And I hate those weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And when I food prep, it's not like that. And it goes smoothly. And I'm like, oh my God, why did I not
Yeah.
food prep on Sunday?
Yeah.
Because you get to that point, you're like, I don't want to food prep today.
Yeah.
And then the whole week is just a tornado.
Yeah.
And then you're
it's really
running through
bad.
the drive-thrus,
Yep.
and you're getting foods that you don't necessarily want to eat, but it's quick and easy. So
Mhm.
then you get back into that. Now I just ate 1,000 calories in
Yep.
one meal, you know.
Mhm.
So
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
it's hard.
God. It is hard. I'm
It
like,
is.
oh, that sounds good.
So I was like, thanks for telling me how hard it is. But it is. It's something that you have to like
It's not easy.
think about. That
Be
journey,
ready for,
Yep.
like she said. Yeah.
If you're not ready for it, you'll come to find out within the first couple weeks.
And your
Mhm.
family has to be ready for it too.
Mhm.
Because like I know that me and my husband have had many of talks about, you know, what are you helping with this week?
Mhm.
Because it's hard to do it. It's hard to clean the
Mhm.
house, and it's hard to do the laundry and
Yep.
all these dishes that you use to food prep and then food prep. And then, oh, by the way, go to the gym.
Mhm.
or
on top of
foods
it,
that
you know?
everybody likes.
Yeah,
You know, it's
and-
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still have to buy those foods that your kids like,
Yep.
you know,
Mhm.
but
That you
can't
can
eat
eat.
it.
Yep.
Yep.
You know,
you
and
gotta
he's
tell me.
getting in the cookies. I'm like, that's not for you. Put it away. Like,
You're right, yeah.
Those are for the kids. You know, So
Yeah.
it's just it's something that you almost have to be on board as a family.
Mhm.
You know, when you have a husband and kids and stuff, it's like they have to understand. You know, and it was hard at first to say I need this time for me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, I don't get to go to the gym today because
Yeah.
I don't have time for it. And it's just like, no, that's not going to happen.
Mhm.
And that's what you have to do. You have to let the laundry pile up every now and then and the dishes pile up and go
Yeah.
to the gym because this is worth it for me, you know. And I had to really fight that I'm taking this time away from my kids to go to the gym. Like, is this okay?
Yeah.
You know, because then you get that guilt of I'm spending all day food prepping away from my kids. They're on video games
Yeah.
and I'm in here cooking all day, but it's for a good cause. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I need this. This
Mhm.
is what I need to be able to be here for my kids 40 years from now,
Yeah.
you know? So
yeah.
Those are some really good points.
I know.
it's a hard journey.
I forgot to ask, Savannah, do you have a significant other or?
I do. I've been with my boyfriend since we were 14 years old.
Oh, nice. What's his name?
His name is Alex.
Oh, Alex, how come we haven't popped the question yet? Have we been with, no, I'm just-
She's like, I'm good.
He said financial reasons.
That's always
fair,
good.
that's fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be smart
I'm
about
like,
it.
no rush, bro. No rush.
No,
You enjoy yourself.
I brought up that maybe we should get married on our 10-year anniversary, which would be November 2026.
Oh.
But
No pressure, you know.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But
Well, let's go
man.
back on it. So, what was one goal when you first started CrossFit? Okay. Think of that. And then we're going to fast forward. Did you meet that goal or did you transition your goal into something different?
I think my initial goal was weight loss. I feel like I mainly focused on weight loss because I graduated high school in 2020. And ever since
Whoop,
high
whoop.
school, I gained like 80 pounds. And it was just very bad on my mental health. And
Yeah.
I started therapy because I was just like I was in such like a down place in my life.
Mhm.
And I think that was like my main goal was to feel good about my body.
Mhm.
And a part of that's obviously losing weight and stuff. But I think it transitioned into seeing what my body can do as far as like weightlifting and jump ropes and almost getting to a full pull up, but not. But yeah, I think it definitely transitioned into, you know, appreciating what my body can achieve.
Awesome. I love
Nice.
that.
I love that. Yeah.
Mine was weight
And
loss.
we're done. No, I'm just kidding.
Excuse you. Mine was weight loss as well.
Mhm.
Like weight loss and strength. It still is I think, the same.
Yeah.
I have a very unhealthy relationship with the scale.
Oh, yeah,
So-
girl. Yeah.
I know that. And I like to base everything on the scale. And I know I shouldn't. But my husband's like, you're gaining muscle. I'm like, screw that. Like,
You don't know what you're talking about.
Tracy will do that too, and I was like, "Girl, you can't gain muscle in 2 days. That's not why the scale went up, girl."
I'm like, but you're weightlifting, right?
I'm like,
I know.
Thank you for being a great friend,
Yeah.
but
Girl, this is why I don't use scales. I'm like, I got rid of that thing a while ago. I'm like, I just can't.
wish I could. I probably could not, though.
It's hard. It's really
it
hard.
can dictate your whole day.
Mhm.
It can
Yeah.
dictate your attitude from as soon as you step off it. Especially, and I don't know if you've had one of these days, Nicole, where I've woken up and I'm like, I feel amazing, and it's going to be a great day. Look at that body right there, and then I get on the scale and I'm like, no.
Many times.
Yeah.
Many times. So it's still the same goal. I mean, I do have things that I'm working towards that I'm excited to learn and do and whatnot. But the main goal still is weight loss at this point.
Okay.
All right. So last closing off question. So if you can tell yourself, like you having just started your journey, if you can go back in time and tell your new CrossFit self, like some kind of like motivation or something that you know now that you didn't know back then, what would you tell that person?
She's like, you guys keep looking at me first, and Nicole is
She's like,
over
these are
there.
hard questions.
I only started a year ago, so I think my mindset's probably still about the same, but I would just tell myself to not be as nervous about starting everything and, trying to talk to more people at the gym and not, just tell my old self, everybody here is nice.
Yeah.
Nobody's judging you. Just do you and don't think about what everybody else is doing.
She does this all the time in class. Do you see that?
I know.
And then she expects me to be quiet about it.
And she will like pause the whole class until you acknowledge her. Yeah.
And Savannah's
Like,
like,
stare at me.
yeah, no, I don't
Like,
want
why
that.
See, like,
Chris
this is why.
fine.
Yep.
Why are you staring at me?
I'm like, oh, do you guys have something to say over there?
Reminds
Yeah?
me of
Okay.
that, like, what's that movie where like they turn and they look and it's like, and it's like the sound of a whip. That's you. Just turn and like, I don't know what I did.
What would you tell yourself, Nicole?
I would tell myself that it's not going to be a quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would be very motivational because it might be discouraging, but I would have thought that I would have lost more by now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a process that you have to just continue to show up.
Yep.
You think that you're just going to lose pounds just like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And it's not a quick fix. It's a long journey and you
Mhm.
have to be willing to stick with it.
Yeah, that's really good.
Lifelong
good.
journey for sure. Good. Thank you guys for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you guys for sharing your journey and everything.
And being
And also
vulnerable.
giving me some things to think about.
Yeah, as a coach.
You're welcome.
Well, ladies, it's been an amazing opportunity. Thank you guys for taking a few minutes to speak to your experience. We're really excited to just continue seeing you guys at the gym and seeing what you guys can accomplish and hopefully get those amazing goals accomplished. But yeah, other than that,
Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Remember, hit that follow, subscribe, those 5 stars, leave a review. That helps us out. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. We have our YouTube channel with videos, without. And remember, don't be a Karen, be a Sharon. And until we meet at the whiteboard again, bye.